What's happening, everybody? All right, so my final impressions of the Falken Azenis FK510 tires. Guys, look, I wouldn't say that they hook up as well as a set of dedicated drag radials. However, from the roll hits that I was able to make with these tires, I would say that they offer up about 90% of the performance envelope, again, at least from a roll, with a car making roughly 6 to 6.5 pounds per horsepower in terms of a power to weight ratio. I would argue though that at some point around that power to weight ratio, any of the commercially available tires, even those that are in the low 300s or high 200s in terms of tread wear, are not going to be able to harness all the power that those vehicles are putting to the ground. And in that case, a drag radial may be a better bet for you guys. But for most of the cars that are running around, and again, my Hellcat is somewhere between that 6 to 6.5 pounds per rear wheel horsepower, the tires did really well. At no point did I ever feel like the car had not enough traction in most of the scenarios that I was in. And again, at these types of power to weight ratios, 0 to 60 times, and any speed hits or a quick acceleration from a dig, in other words, from a dead stop, that's going to be a little bit too much to ask, even of drag radials on the street. But where I find these tires to be extremely high in terms of a value proposition is their cost. These tires, at least at the time of this video, were right at $250 for the tires each, whereas the Nitto 555R, for example, is actually in the $400 range. So when you look at the performance envelope, plus look at the price of the thing, again, the value proposition starts to lean heavily in the favor of these Falken Azenis FK510s. Now, if you've got a car that is naturally aspirated, one of the more common cars like the Mustang, the Camaro, or a Scat Pack, those that don't have supercharged levels of power, these tires will serve you extremely well. They do extremely well in the wet. They offer very strong coefficients of friction in dry weather, and I think you'd be really happy with them just in terms of the overall driving impression that I got out of my car. Stable at high speeds and balanced out well to boot. They didn't take a whole lot of weight to get them to true, which is kind of a big deal, especially when you're looking at, well, some of the other tires that I have worked with, that needed a lot of weight to get them to balance out. So would I buy them again? Yeah, I would definitely buy them again. Are they as good as drag radials? Well, yes and no. In some sense, they're kind of as good, and that's about as high a praise as you can get. Comparing these to other summer tires, I'm pretty sure that the performance that they would offer up would be fairly similar to other tires that you would see for sale and offer. One thing you will notice is that a lot of these tires all have roughly the same tread pattern. That asymmetrical tread pattern is kind of a universal standard now for higher performance summer and all season tires. This tread wear is a 300, so it is really more of a summer tire. Of course, an all season would not offer up quite the performance that a summer tire would. It just doesn't have as soft of a compound. So taking all that into consideration, give them a look if you're thinking about putting tires on your car. Again, naturally aspirated guys, these would be fantastic for you. You supercharged guys, stock Hellcat, stock ZL1, stuff like that, probably would like these tires quite a bit. Again, I rather enjoy them on my Hellcat. And for you guys that are even more modified, you know where you stand with these types of tires. If you've got to run drag radials, it's a fair weather car anyway. You're making, somewhere around that 5.8 pounds per horsepower, 6 pounds, in other words, 6.0 pounds per horsepower. Chances are you're going to start to exceed the limits that these tires can offer up, but you're exceeding the limits of all the other commercially available tires for the most part, especially when you start to consider price. So with that, I hope that helps you out. We will catch you guys on the next one, and that's a wrap. Adios.